You're not going to believe my vision for this cracker box and these Dollar Tree slippers. Friends, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping back by, and if this is your first video of mine and like what you see, would love for you to hit that subscribe button. I am full steam ahead on Christmas crafting here for the next month. My vision today is something I've seen on a coffee cup or an ornament or a t-shirt, but I've never seen it as a tabletop decoration. I'm gonna make an upside down Santa going down the chimney. I did spend $3 at the Dollar Tree, and the rest of the supplies are your basic craft stash. So let's go to the kitchen and let me show the supplies I have laid out. All right, the $3 that I spent was a pair of these black slippers with a fuzzy inside. I picked up a package of these wooden dominoes from the toy section, and then I already had some scrap pieces of the black foam board from Dollar Tree, and I'm gonna make this work. I went ahead and cut this piece to size and used a black marker on the edges to disguise the white foam inside, but you may have something that will work just as well. And I'm going to need some more foam for my chimney, my cracker box, and I'm going to need a couple colors of paint, some white and a brick color, and I'm going to put a drop of brown in my red to give it a more brick color. Now you're going to need some fabric, some red for his legs and some white for the snow. And I'm going to make a little Santa sack as an embellishment. This is strictly optional. I just thought it'd be cute to add to it. I'm going to use some black felt, and then to tie his little Santa sack, I just took some string and some red and green Dollar Tree beads I had. You could use any kind of little ribbon or anything you have that will work. Now I also want to add a little wreath to my chimney. I just made this out of my stash, but you may have a little wreath ornament, or they're pretty easy to find. To stuff his legs, I have a bag of polyfill. If you've got a big bag of cotton balls or something, or some pillow stuffing, that will work too. And just the regular craft supplies, craft knife, ruler, and hot glue. So to get started, I need to prep a few things. I went ahead and hot glued the inside of my box flaps down, and I'm going to give my cracker box a couple coats of white paint just to cover up all this cracker graphic. And then I'm going to paint my little wooden dominoes a brick color. These are going to be the bricks for the chimney, and I'm going to cut 6 in half out of the 28 that are here. So cut 6 of your dominoes in half and paint them brick color. So I'm going to get that done and come back and show you what it looks like. All right, before I started painting, I just want to come back and clarify that I told you that you're going to be cutting 6 dominoes in half. You're really cutting them more than that. You're going to cut 1 inch off of this end and 1 inch off of this end so you can keep those rounded corners, because 2 rows of your chimney are going to have split bricks. And you'll see what I'm talking about once we start gluing them in place. So just make sure you have 6 dominoes and 1 inch is cut off each end. So 12 1-inch pieces. All right, while my bricks in my box are drying, I'm gonna go ahead and work on my Santa legs. Now, to make it easier, I cut my 2 pieces of red fleece the same size of this inexpensive felt sheets from Walmart. They're like 25 or 30 cents a sheet, something like that. So you'll know what size I'm working with. Now, if you are using a standard cracker box like I am, yours should be very close to the same. Now, my problem was I wasn't sure what size fatness to make the legs. I wanted to be able to stuff them in the chimney, so I wanted them a little bigger than the chimney, and I played around with some tumblers in my cabinet and come up with these 2 cups right here that are a little bigger than my cracker box opening, but once they're stuffed in there, I think it'll be fine. So I'm really just using this plastic cup as a guide. And just so happened, the whole sheet of felt just fits over this perfectly. Now, the good thing is the tumblers are kind of tapered at the end, and a leg is kind of tapered. So what you could do, instead of just gluing your short ends together and making just a straight leg, you could actually make your glue seam a little angled. But you could use this tumbler as your guide if you've got a cup in your pantry. Otherwise, just kind of eyeball it. The only benefit of angling it is you'll have less bulk to shove into the little Santa boot. I'm not sure if I got that on camera or not, but I just ran a bead of hot glue, pressed it together, and then I turned it inside outwards. okay? It's just like sewing. You glue right sides together and then turn it inside outwards, and it creates a little tube, which will be your Santa leg. I'm gonna make sure that my seam is in the back so that you won't see the seam of the felt. I'm gonna take some of this polyfill, and I'm just gonna put some stuffing in the legs. I'm gonna wait until I get my feet attached and everything before I completely call it done. But I'm gonna put a little bit of stuffing in it. Like I said, you could use cotton balls or whatever you have, and you can use a pencil, or if your legs are big enough, you can kind of just stick your hand in there and put a little bit of stuffing. Not sure how much I'm gonna need just yet. I'm gonna at least get it started. Right, so I'm just gonna put my little stuffed legs to the side and work on the feet. So I've been thinking about this. I'm not sure how I can make a boot shape. So I think the easiest thing for me to do is I'm just going to cut at the top of the foot opening. So I'm basically cutting the heel off of the slipper. So that's what I'm left with. To roll this fleece down to almost, it makes it look like a mitten, and I'm gonna just hot glue it in place where it almost just looks like a mitten with no thumb. That's the only way I can describe it. You know, this stuff sheds a little bit. Once you get it hot glued, I think the shedding will stop and you get it in place. And that will create your little Santa boot. Let me show you again. Fold it down, and then come around here and kind of connect it. Now you'll notice the house shoes have a little gripper side, and those are going to be the back of the little Santa boots. But once you've got your little pocket made, I'm going to put a little bit of stuffing in there, cotton balls or whatever you got, and that'll kind of fill out his little boot. Now here's where I'm going to bring back my Santa legs. I may need to put a little bit more stuffing in the top of the boot and the bottom of the leg. All right, I've got 2 legs done, but let me give you a little tip, because I've burnt the stew out of my finger and I don't want you to do that. Here's the easiest way. The first time I glued outside of the leg and just trying to poke it in this boot, and that's not gonna work. That's where I burnt my finger. It's better just to stuff the leg into the boot and then go around and stick your hot glue gun in there and shoot some glue in there. Just work your way around and attach your legs like that. Also, another big tip, make sure you can go back and defuzz it when you get done. Make sure your seam to your leg is on the same side as your house shoe gripper, so it doesn't look like house shoes. See, here on the front, I've got nice rounded legs and then the felted boots. All right, so now we're ready to brick our fireplace. And my box actually has a seam down one side, and that's the side classified as my back. If you want your whole chimney bricked, then you'll need another package of the wood dominoes. But I'm only going to do 3 sides, because not only do my feet have a back, but my box has a back as well. And I thought that might make a difference whether or not my bricks lay down flat. So I am going to be bricking 3 sides. So I'm going to get everything set up and show you how I do that. All right, so now my box is with my box painted white. It's not painted perfect, but it's covered enough to where you won't be able to read the words between it. Now I'm also going to use just a regular popsicle stick as my spacer. So I'm going to start at the bottom of the box, glue my first brick in the center on one side. You may find that you may need to trim off some of those little half pieces that you did. All right, now my next row, I'm going to use my spacer, and I'm going to do 2 bricks. So apparently I've been measuring the whole time with the other side. So I will have to make adjustments on all these, but that's okay. It's nothing but just these cut real easy. So my suggestion is to cut them before you glue them. It's not exactly perfect, but neither is any type of brickwork. All right, so I'm going to go back with a little bit of my paint and touch up some of the little corner areas where I snipped it. I thought that my cracker box was perfectly square, and it wasn't. So you may have to do a little snipping as you go, just like a real bricklayer has to chip away at some of his bricks. So super cute. And let me clean up my mess and we'll move on. All right, I've got some stuff organized now. Let me show you. All right, here is that piece of foam board I told you that you'd need for the base. I just cut an 8x8 piece. If you had a piece of wood or a canvas board, something like that. And I'm just going to hot glue my chimney onto the center of it. And I also put 3 sheets of newspaper in my chimney just to kind of fill it up, to give it some weight. And I may end up just put a piece of red piece of tissue on top, just so in case someone looks down in there, all they'll see is red tissue paper. Now for the foam board, I told you I was going to put a little topper on my chimney, and I just cut some pieces that would fit. So I'm gonna hot glue a little black topper on the top of the chimney. I just think that gives it a finished look. Now after I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and construct my little Santa bag. You're gonna need a 1/2 piece of felt, cut it long ways, and I'm going to just fold it in half and run a seam of glue down both sides and just make a little sack, like a little pocket. You're gonna turn it inside outwards and then just stuff it and tie a little string around it, and that will give you your little Santa bag. All right, after I get the topper glued onto the chimney, I want some kind of dripping icicles. So I'm going to take the piece of white felt and fold it long ways. You can just do it free-handed. I don't think it really matters because once you glue that white felt around the top, they're going to realize that it is supposed to be icicles. And glue my wreath embellishment on. So I'm gonna go ahead and just finish hot gluing all these things in. I'm going to stuff my little legs in there and show you what it looks like. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this little upside down Santa project as much as I did making it. So much fun. It turned out exactly how I envisioned, and I hope you can round up the supplies and create your own. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back in a few days with something else fun to share. Bye-bye.